But you believe he was guilty and he should be behind bars?
Yes, which is a completely different case than Carmelo Anthony.
No, the idea is that he was not. They didn't present enough evidence to incarcerate
Carmelo
him.
Anthony hasn't been on trial yet. We don't know all the facts yet, man.
You're basing it on an emotional bias rather than the
Hold
law.
on. Remember what I said?
But then
Time out.
you switch the
I said
flip
based
when
on
you go
all
to
the
Carmelo
facts.
Anthony.
Time out, man.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Based on all the facts available, I think Carmelo Anthony is guilty. Did I not say that at the beginning? And so we're gonna. He deserves due process. He deserves a lawyer. Let's allow it play out. And if all of a suddenly we found out that Austin Metcalf had a shotgun in his track bag and pointed it at Carmelo Anthony, the calculus changes.
Correct. But you're deeming that the other.
What's up YouTube? Hope you guys are feeling good. Today guys, we're back to a new video. Today we're going to be checking out Charlie Kirk. Proves Carmelo Anthony and George Zimmerman cases are not the same. Sorry if I didn't pronounce the name properly. I call him Charlie Kick because he loves kicking us. Let's get right into today's video, guys.
Hello, hello. How are you, Charlie?
Good.
Good to hear.
All right, we're low on time, so we're going to do the lightning round soon after you, where if I don't like your question, I'm just a jerk. I'm going to tell you to move on.
That's okay.
All right.
Okay, well, let me first preface by saying I was born here, and I'm of Mexican heritage, and I'm proud to be both. My dad's a big fan, by the way. So I'm here to debate. I believe that Black Lives Matter is actually a good thing. And I believe that there's a differentiation between the statement and the foundation because one is more popular than the other. I think that there's a bias with race in general within politics, and I think the Republican Party lacks a consistency in that. So my question to you is going to be, if I name these three names, could you tell me if they're guilty or not guilty? Okay, so the first one's going to be Carmelo Anthony.
Based on the facts available, absolutely guilty.
Okay. Now, O.J. Simpson.
Oh, absolutely guilty.
Okay. George Zimmerman.
No, self-defense. He was acquitted by a jury of his peers.
Now, if we're going based on facts, what makes the Carmelo Anthony and the George Zimmerman case different?
George Zimmerman was hunted at night by Trayvon Martin at 2 a.m., and the stand your ground law allows you to stand your ground up against people that wish you harm. Carmelo Anthony, with that Austin Metcalf, who he murdered in cold blood, said, "Don't touch me" at a high school track meet, said one thing he didn't like, took out a knife, and then brutally stabbed him to death. Those are not moral equivalents. George Zimmerman and Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony are on different planets morally. Don't ever compare them. That is incredible moral confusion.
But
And I thought you would be smarter than that.
I am. So I want to debate, how is it hunting when it was confirmed by the police department that that George Zimmerman followed him? It was the other way around.
Again, the facts around the George Zimmerman case, I'll admit, are a little bit rusty. It's been 10 years since that case. What I remember is this. It was highly scrutinized.
Right.
The jury was bipartisan. He was fully acquitted. And when all the facts came out, it was legitimate self-defense. Now, if that ends up happening in the Carmelo Anthony case, I guess I'll reevaluate it.
Right.
But again, they're not even close to in the same moral dimension.
But I would argue that they are, because George Zimmerman was told to stand back by the police department. He had no authority to follow him, and it was a self-defense case where the problem is he who dies does not get to testify. The only fact that was presented in court was based on George Zimmerman's testimony.
Okay, I want to speed this up. I don't think people even know who George Zimmerman is in this audience. This was a decade ago.
So we could go with O.J. Simpson.
Well, which crime of O.J. Simpson are we talking about? Because he was incarcerated twice.
Well, the crime of the murder.
Okay.
What makes you believe that he's guilty if you're going based on fair law judgment rather than emotional bias?
Again, you really think that was a fair trial? First of all, the police screwed up a lot of stuff. Let's just be honest. The police was the reason why O.J. Simpson was accused. They reached too far. They wanted to get a guilty verdict too much. Kardashian pounced on it. And let's all be very clear. If the police would have just preserved evidence in its original form, O.J. Simpson would have died behind bars, okay? And again, you want to talk about rusty? O.J. Simpson was before I was born. I don't remember all the facts associated to it.
Exactly.
But here's my thing. Don't try to find, oh, wow, Carmelo Anthony, 2 teenagers at a track meet. By the way, you think that track meet self-defense is like legitimate between two?
I think they're all guilty. My argument is a consistency. If you believe one is guilty, they're all guilty.
O.J.
If you
Simpson
believe
was
one
never,
is not guilty,
O.J.
they're all
Simpson was
innocent.
not self-defense, though. It was he was on trial for cold-blooded murder.
But you believe he was guilty and he should be behind bars?
Yes, which is a completely different case than Carmelo Anthony.
No, the idea is that he was not. They didn't present enough evidence to incarcerate
Carmelo
him.
Anthony hasn't been on trial yet. We don't know all the facts
You're
yet,
basing
man.
it on an emotional bias rather than the
Hold
law.
on, remember what I said?
But then
Time out.
you switch the
I said
flip
it based
when you
on
go
all
to
the
Carmelo
facts.
Anthony.
Time out, man.
Go ahead.
Based on all the facts available, I think Carmelo Anthony is guilty. Did I not say that at the beginning? And so we're
Yes.
he deserves
But then-
due process. He
okay.
deserves a lawyer. Let's allow it play out. And if all of a suddenly we found out that Austin Metcalf had a shotgun in his
Right.
track bag and pointed it at Carmelo Anthony, the calculus changes.
Correct. But you're deeming that the others were guilty and innocent based on emotional bias rather than the fact.
No, it's not at all. The
Okay.
difference is, and let me even further tell you why you're wrong.
Go,
Those
please.
two are completed cases. Carmelo Anthony is not a completed case.
Correct.
And so you're going after those that had the full due process the American legal system go
Right.
through, and one that we have a pretty good picture, although incomplete, and I reserve the right to be corrected. And so what exactly is your
You
contention?
do, and I reserve the right as well. But I believe that because of the consistency, I believe you're going on an emotional bias because, like I said, BLM and we as a nation look at race, and that is a bias factor.
Wrong. In fact, let me
Okay.
just be very, just
Go
so
ahead,
you
go
are
ahead.
consistent.
I am consistent.
Black people are 13% of the population. What percent of the murders do black people commit?
I'm not,
55%.
Right.
That's a lot. Do you
But
think?
does
Do you
that
think?
mean-
Do you think that fact is told on the media infrequently?
Actually, if we're going on statistics, George Zimmerman called the cops on
I'm not
only
talking about
black
George Zimmerman,
people.
man. It's-
Okay.
This is George Zimmerman is a settled case 10 years ago.
Right,
Stand your
right,
ground.
right.
And so, but last question. You say
Okay,
Black Lives Matter.
so then
Hold on.
two
I got to
cri-
go to the next question. I said I reserve the right to cut you
Okay.
off. You
You
say
do, you
Black
do.
Lives Matter. Can we also agree that White Lives Matter?
Absolutely.
Great. All lives matter. We agree. Thank you so
but-
much. I got to get to the next question. Thank you.
Simple. Okay, guys, this was interesting to watch, and the people who are there talking about I do not know them, especially the George Zimmerman. I did not know him before, and his case was in 2012, I think so. I went to get my tab to make some research. Then Carmelo Anthony, his case was in 2025, I think this year. The difference is that Anthony was 17 years, who is a minor, and George is 28. Then incident, stabbing during a school track meet confrontation. That's what Anthony did. He actually stabbed someone to death. Then George shooting of Trayvon Martin during a neighborhood encounter. And the weapons were knife and firearm. Okay, then if you talk about the legal status, Anthony's one was first degree murder, pending trial. Then Zimmerman, George was second degree murder, acquitted in 2013. Then it's a long case, guys. But you can't compare Anthony and George. They're both not the same thing. But what happened was bad. You understand? It was very, very, very bad. And Anthony was a minor, and George was not a minor. He's a full-grown person. You understand? He was a full-grown man. I think at the age of 28, that's when he committed the act. So what this guy was trying to say right here, that he's talking about the Black Lives Matter stuff, it wasn't making no sense because you can't equate such cases. And his scenario, his perspective is, it's somehow, for me, I feel like the two people he called, I did not know anything about them. I had to go make research about them just now. According to the conclusion I've seen, why both involves fatal violence and criminal charges, they are very different in context. Zimmerman case ignited a national reckoning over race, gun laws, and justice. Anthony's case is still unfolding and involves peer violence among teenagers. So they are both not the same thing, which, irrespective, both of them killed someone, which is bad, you understand? But they are both not the same thing. So this guy's scenario, or the way what he said right here, or his entire stuff was somehow, you understand? So I love actually answered him in a very respectful way. And I'm very glad actually know like something about the people who the guy was trying talking about. He has brief understanding about who the people are. Well, me, I did not know them before, so I had to go and make more research about them to know who they really are. You understand? So this itself, shocking. So, but you can't compare both incidents together. They are both different. So comment down below what you think about this video. Give us a thumbs up, share this video as many as can. Subscribe to our channel, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you stay safe.